everyone. We'll just wait a few minutes, a couple of minutes before people start joining in.
Sure.
Hi, good evening. Good evening to those of you who are just joining. We'll be beginning this session shortly, so please stay with us. Hi, good evening, everyone. We'll be starting today's session with Dr. Rachna soon. So please be patient and wait for another couple of minutes, then we'll start. Hi, good evening. Sorry, just a couple of minutes and we shall start. Thank you for your patience, everyone. So we're a couple of minutes in. I'm just going to wait maybe 2 more minutes and then we can start. As you all know, we are here for a very special session, very different from what we've been doing over the last few months. And yeah, so I'm excited for this. I'm excited to talk to you all about this. So just a minute's time and we shall begin. So we're just about to begin. Thank you for your patience. I welcome you all for today's session with Dr. Rachna Khanna Singh. As you know, this session is brought to you by TechBee, HCL's early career program for individuals looking for job opportunities after class 12. As you know, with TechBee, candidates undergo a 12-month training program for entry-level IT jobs. And on successful completion of this training, they're placed in full-time roles with HCL. To know all about the program, you can visit hcltechbee.com, and we will, you can even register. Right now, I believe registrations are closed. They will be opening up soon, but you can know more about the program and find out all the details on our website. So just to start today's proceedings, I would like to start with a video that we have, a about HCL TechB, so you can find out more about the program. Then we'll proceed with today's session.
In India, there are few institutions which prepare you or make you job ready. So they
Oops, I think.
in India.
Yeah, just a second. I think we ran into a technical glitch. We're just going to be back on in a minute. Thank you.
In India, there are
Just a second. Okay, I think we're running into some trouble with the video, but no issues. I think few of you may have already seen it, and you can, of course, check it out on our YouTube channel as well. So moving on for today's very special guest and very special session that we have today. Like I said, it's very different from what we've done in the past. We have had eminent career counselors and educationists coming on this platform and telling you more about career paths available to you. But we understand that right now is a time where exams are right around the corner, and there's a lot of unease or maybe even anxiousness, in within you on how best you can prepare for your exams and for boards for many of you 12th graders. So we have on our panel, mental wellness and lifestyle and relationship expert, Dr. Rachna Khanna Singh, who's been practicing for over 20 years. She's the HOD of Holistic Medicine at Artemis Hospital in Gurgaon, and she's the founder director of the Mind and Wellness Studio. Dr. Rachna is also very popular in the media circuit, and you probably have heard her before on Fever 104.8 FM, or read a column of hers on Times of India or another publication. So without further ado, I would like to bring Dr. Rachna here. Thank you, Doctor. We really appreciate your time, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. And a very, very good evening to all of you, and especially all the students. Thank you, HCL, for getting me here, and thank you, Jargon Media, for having me here as well. So I have the next hour with you, and I'm going to hope that we are going to make it very, very fun and interactive for all of us while we talk about a serious subject like mental wellness. So, as we understand, specifically in the pandemic, mental wellness has completely come to the forefront. So, the next few minutes, I'm going to request. Sanat, are you going to, flip the slides for me?
Yes, I will be. So you could just tell
Okay,
me
that's
as and when you want me to move.
Yes, that's very, very kind of you. Okay, so like having said that, like I said that we are going to be discussing a difficult but yet a very pertinent subject here, so that all of us can gain the maximum from this. So I would request that for the next half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, all of you think that this is going to be it is a presentation where all of you, I wish all of you to interact as much as possible, because otherwise, like I always say, that the fun of having a live speaker is that you can interact with me. Otherwise, you could of course YouTube me, and you could hear me in any which way. Now technology has become so fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to request Sanat, without any delay, after such a beautiful introduction about myself, to let's go on to the next slide, please. Yes, so looking at this, as we see that according to the disability adjusted life years, mental illness is the most disabling illness, causing large amounts of morbidity and mortality in the world. Next, please. So in the Indian context today, we know that this is the WHO statistics, by the way, that 1 out of every 4 people suffering from some mental illness or the others, anxiety, depression, so many other concerns. But this is a statistics which is pre-pandemic. So in fact, a lot of the psychologists who've been mapping and who have been, putting the stats together, I think we're going to come up with stats something like maybe 1:2 or 1:3 in every person now has a mental health concern. That means it's as grave and serious as that every third person or every second person will be facing something or the other. Next, please. So, as we do understand, you see that these statistics tell us that there is a lot of pressure, a lot of burden on the society with respect to mental illness. So over 350 million people worldwide suffer from depression. It's that harsh, the statistics. Next, please. And they're also very awakening statistics. So another very, very important but a very, very grave and sad statistics is that so basically it says that every hour one student commits suicide in India. Now, this is the sad part, but the better part is to understand is that 90% of the suicides are a result of untreated mental illnesses. So if we were to treat mental illnesses, in fact, the good statistics go as that if 80% of people who are having depression, if they were to get treated, they are 80% treatable. So can you imagine if we were to get up, get help, get treated, we are not going to have this sad statistic of one child or one student per hour. Maybe it will come down to one in a day. So it's all about us creating awareness, understanding, absorbing, and making the change. So specifically, I would, I really thank all the media houses, all the corporate houses like HCL, who are allowing this kind of presentation, who are in fact embracing it, so that we talk a lot about mental health and so that we don't get this unwell and we can take help and make a lot of change and make a lot of positive change into these figures, these statistical figures which you are seeing are so horrific. So what is it which is stopping us from making this change? Next, please. So if we see this particular slide, you would understand that what is it that is creating so much of difficulty in us not reaching. Why are these statistics so high? So one is the stigma. That somehow mental health always had a stigma attached to it, that that agar mentally unwell hai to kya pagal ho ya pagal ki doctor ke paas ja rahe. That was a age old stigma, but now we see there is a huge change in the way people are reacting to going to psychologists, mental wellness experts, psychiatrists. There's a huge change there. There's in fact a sea of change is what I would like to call it. I always cite this in my presentations, and I think in the pandemic, especially in the lockdown, I think I've done over 60 mental wellness awareness talks, so that people like us, people like you, like me, like all of us understand a little bit better, and we are able to help people around. So I always give this really famous example, that I say that if you're not feeling mentally fine, it should become as simple as going to a doctor if you are having stomach aches. So if you are to have repeated stomach aches, what are you going to do? You'll grab some medicines from your chest of medicines at home. You'll self-medicate. If it doesn't get better, you're going to go to see a physician. Similarly, if we are not feeling mentally well, if you're having mood swings, if you're having persistent low moods, persistent beeping bouts, anxiety bouts, it is a good idea to knock the door of a mental wellness expert. And like I was saying, I give this famous example where I was at a social gathering with one of my patients who was the Vogue Woman of the year before, and I happened to bump into her, and she took me by my hand to the who's who of the country, whether it was people from the fashion industry, whether it was people who were politicians, and she introduced me saying, "This is my therapist." So I told her, I said, "Aren't you scared to tell people that you've been to therapy?" She said, "That is what I want people to know, that today I'm standing at this platform, and there was a time when I was very depressed and I'm feeling so much better. So I want people to understand that they can get help." So that is the kind of awakening which is happening. Yes, we are seeing an exponential rise in people knocking our doors for help also, which is fantastic. I had, in fact, through the pandemic, the calls from students were not finishing, and especially after especially after the unfortunate incident with Sushant Singh Rajput, people who were never having anxiety and depression started feeling like that. People who had something like that, it became way higher. So people were reaching out. So the whole thing is, the more you reach out to a mental wellness expert, you are going to get some help. You will feel better, and of course, we will not have these gory statistics with us anymore. And yes, there is a lack of specialists from our field. But having said that, the good point is now we are all available at the drop of a button. So it's so simple now to just take an appointment and reach out to somebody, and it's so much better to do that and not reach a place where you've been very depressed or reach towards a suicidal tendency. Next, please. Okay, so it is completely the need of the hour today. It is essential. See, health and wellness has become the absolute need of the hour. So there was a time, let's say, few years ago, or maybe like, let's say, when our parents were there, they never used to go to mental wellness experts, or they would not sit for seminars like this, because that wasn't needed at that hour so much. But today, it is the absolute need of the hour, and it is essential to improve mind, body, and spirit to have a proper, productive life. Next, please. So you see, now we don't talk about just mind, body, and spirit. We move to a more holistic and a more well-defined space in wellness. So since we have so many debates, discussions of wellness now, this is the wellness wheel, and wellness has become a completely six-dimensional approach, which is not only physical, not only emotional, not only spiritual, but also it encompasses the part of the neighborhood, your compassion. It is also encompassing the intellectual side of you, also the social, the environmental, and the occupational. That makes us that gives a holistic perspective for a holistic life and a holistic well-being. Next, please. Okay, so like I promised, that we are going to try to make this as interactive as possible so that everybody feels engaged. So if we just see the next slide, it shows blank here, Sanat. So I don't know, but yeah. So I think I will just spell it out. Sanat, the slide showing a blank on the screen. Yeah, I can see these slides now. Just move ahead, please, to slide 13. Yes, thank you. Now we can see it. So look at this. This says that the biggest killer in the world today, accounting for over 80% of deaths worldwide, is lifestyle. It is not allergies, it is not infections, it is lifestyle factors which end up in a large number of diseases, whether it's stress, tension, and it ends up into a whole huge gamut of different diseases. So I want to ask all of you, since a lot of you I can see interacting over here. I want to ask all of you, do you think, quickly, I want people to interact and type, do you think there's something wrong with your lifestyle? Don't worry about your parents' lifestyle, your girlfriend's lifestyle, your boyfriend's lifestyle, or your neighbor's lifestyle, or your friend's lifestyle. Tell me, do you think something is wrong with your lifestyle? To each person. Please, I understand it's an open forum. You can type what you feel like. Although I can see some questions already coming in. Okay, so anybody telling me that there is nothing wrong with their lifestyle? Is there anybody who feels that there's nothing wrong with their lifestyle? Okay. So I don't think there's anybody who feels that there's nothing wrong with their lifestyle. We all know that there is something not right with our lifestyle nowadays. And having said that, there is a large place where there is always a large area of improvement, and we can improve our lifestyle to a large degree. So coming to that, tell me, where do you think that, what are the areas where you feel that the lifestyle what is wrong with your lifestyle? Can anybody type in to tell me what is wrong with their lifestyle? Anybody? So anybody would like to share what you think is wrong with your lifestyle? Okay, so if we just move to the next slide. The next slide, please. It's not flipping. Sanat, the slide's not flipped. Yeah, thank you. I can see it on the screen now. So just this, we've gathered this information not from any research book. This has been gathered from my talks from so many years together. What is wrong with our lifestyle is a faulty lifestyle encompasses a lot of stress, a faulty diet, sedentary life, smoking, alcohol, and all these end up with a lot of psychiatric problems, neurological problems, even heart problems, cancers also, because we all understand that a large portion of these illnesses are they have stress at their underlying note to it. Okay, next please. So faulty lifestyle, to add to the faulty lifestyle, yeah, to add to what we were talking about, that faulty lifestyle kya hota hai? Of course, it is a lack of sedentary, it is, sorry, a sedentary life where we are not walking. Man is a human being who God made that we should do some physical work. But today, what do? Like I saw somebody just putting in a question here saying that I am in an 8-hour training class, and obviously you don't possibly have too much time, right? So what happens today's lifestyle? We wake up in the morning, we kind of run to, we go to our workplace, or we go to your office place, and now a lot of it is from home. So we just log on to the calls, sitting, attend all of that, a lot of screen time. And then what happens at the end of the day? We are again watching some screen time, whether we're watching something on social media, or we are going to see movies on Netflix, or we are back onto the laptop or to the phone again. So that is a lot of sedentary lifestyle. And then what do? Then we end up sleeping. So God has not made man in this way. So sedentary lifestyle can cause a huge amount of problems. Now, besides the sedentary lifestyle, other things like eating habits. I hear a lot of children nowadays, when we have people coming in for counseling, a lot of people end up complaining that they wake up in the morning now, their whole sleep patterns, their entire sleep cycles are ruined with the pandemic. People are ending up sleeping so much later, waking up later, skipping breakfast, or just having a glass of milk and thinking that's breakfast, and not eating their meals on time. So if we are not going to eat our meals on time, we are not going to sleep at a particular designated hour, be rest assured that your body and mind will never be all right. It cannot function all right. If our body is not functioning all right, our mind will not function in a good way also. And these are all parts and portions of a faulty lifestyle, and stress being one of the largest, which I will touch on. And to add to this faulty lifestyle, we have peer pressure, busy schedules, pressure to perform. Wherever we are, we need to perform. So all this adds to it. Next, please. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, so look at this. This is a beautiful picture. I love this picture because this is a picture which shows that this person is under immense stress, doing so many things together. And of course, there's one word which brings us to this understanding that what this stress is nothing but multitasking. So do you all know that a lot of you I know are listening, because I see a lot of comments on the other side. So do you all know that how many tasks is our brain allowed to do without getting tired? Anybody can take a guess? 1, 2, 5, 10. How many tasks can our brain do without getting tired or without getting stressed? So just to let you know, without feeling too much stress, we can only do 2 tasks at one time. But what ends up happening is we end up doing way more. So we are thinking of something, we are thinking what are we going to, eat in the evening, where are we going to go, I have the study, what am I going to study tomorrow? I'm planning that in the head. I'm getting one phone call on one side. I'm attending a class on the other side. I'm giving a lecture one side. So I'm thinking so many things. I'm doing so many things. And that is why our brain gets very fatigued and ends up having a lot of stress. So this is what causes a lot of stress to us. Next, please. So what is stress? Stress is nothing but a response of the body to a situation that the body perceives harmful. जब बॉडी को लगता है कि कुछ हार्म हो रहा है तो उसके स्ट्रेस लेवल्स एकदम से बढ़ जाते हैं. दैट इज व्हाट इज स्ट्रेस. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. So who has stress? Nobody from Mars has stress. All of us have stress. There is nobody who's bereft of stress, including me, including whoever we idolize, whoever are the senior people in the walk of our life. Each one of us has stress. Next, please. So very quick question to all of you. So what is it that you feel when you are stressed? This is, if some people can type, fantastic. If you can't type this, put it down as a little bit of an exercise for yourself, because this is going to help you. See, जब तक हमको यही नहीं पता कि हमको क्या प्रॉब्लम है, हम उसका आंसर या सोल्यूशन कभी नहीं लेके आ सकते. So we must know what is it that is happening to us. When we know that, then we will be able to find the solution also. So awareness is a very, very important thing. And with this conversation that we people are having, and I would like to call it more a conversation versus just a talk, because like I said, talk is nothing. You can just Google me, you can YouTube me, and you can just listen. But this is interactive, where you can listen, talk, absorb, and then ask me the questions later. So what is it that you feel when you're stressed? I want everybody to note it down. बिकॉज जब तक आपको ये नहीं पता चलेगा कि आप महसूस क्या करते हैं, आपको उसके सोल्यूशन भी नहीं पता चलेंगे. सो just to give you an example, mostly when people have anger issues, we see even in the OPDs, people don't come by themselves and say, I've got this anger issues, or I've got anxiety issues, or I'm feeling very stressed. It's usually the person alongside. Maybe a parent will bring the child, maybe somebody's partner or spouse will bring their partner, saying, the anger is getting out of bound, or the person is getting very aggressive. So it is very important to have an insight in yourself. So coming back to what is it that you feel when you're stressed. So ऐसा कोई इंसान नहीं है जिसको स्ट्रेस, तनाव, या जिसे हम टेंशन बोलते हैं, कभी महसूस ना हुआ हो. है ऐसा कोई इंसान? कोई भी नहीं है. इनफैक्ट हमको एक दिन के अंदर बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि तनाव के स्तर ऊपर जाते हैं, नीचे होते हैं, स्ट्रेस लेवल्स गो अप एंड डाउन. So we need to understand what is it that I feel. So you will see all of you will be feeling different things. So I want you to note it down. Some people will be having some body symptoms. Some people get headaches. Some people get, even chronic colds and coughs with stress. Some people will get backache. Some people will get only mind symptoms, where people will get things like confusion, irritability of mind, sadness, anxiety, so many other things. And some people, when the stress levels are very high, end up being, they end up be formulating some diseases. So next, please. So if you just see, we've divided this for everybody's ease. So these are some of the common symptoms we may experience. Irritability, anger. अगर हम emotional side पे देखें, from the emotional aspect, we will see all these symptoms as what we encounter. Anger, irritability, fear, sadness, mood swings. Next, please. If we see the cognitive symptoms, these are the symptoms of the mind. So if we see difficulty in concentration, a lot of students come to us saying that, they are not able to concentrate, they're not able to focus, the mind keeps going off. Next, please. Somatic is when the body gets hurt. So, disturbances in sleep, या तो बहुत ज़्यादा नींद आ रही है या नींद ही नहीं आ रही है. जब when the stress is high, either the appetite is very high or the appetite is very, very low. This is a very common example when we would see each other after months at the board exam center. It's a very common thing. When you see your friends after 2 months or 3 months of prep leave at the board exam center, suddenly you see somebody's gained weight and suddenly you see somebody's lost weight. What happened? Because under stress, some people end up eating more and some people just lose their appetite. And of course, chronic pains, aches, pains which are just not going away are totally stress-related pains. Next, please. certain behavioral symptoms where there is there is reduced performance. We are not able to perform in our classes, we are not able to perform at our job, we are not motivated when we wake up in the morning. There's demotivation, and that is something a lot of us found in the pandemic. A lot of people were reaching out to me saying that, we feel so demotivated when we wake up in the morning, don't feel like doing anything, because it was just a very, very different kind of an environment altogether. Unfortunately, things have opened up, although still we have this fear in the environment. And of course, if we constantly feel like this, then it ends up in absenteeism, where we don't end up attending classes, going to work, and so on, and increase in the usage of negative substances like alcohol, smoking, or coffee, drowning cups of tea and coffee. That is also very, very harmful. Next, please. So, I talked a little bit with all of you about what is stress, and what are the symptoms of stress, and how are we going to manage the stress, right? So coming to the management, we talk a very simple language of a ABC strategy. That what is the awareness, what is the balance, and what is the control. So when we talk about what I was saying, that unless we are aware, we will never be able to control. जब हमको यही नहीं पता कि हम में क्या प्रॉब्लम क्या है, तो हम उसे कैसे कंट्रोल करेंगे. So first we need to be aware of ourselves, aware of our problems. So what is causing you stress is very important. So you could also put a note down for this, where you could somewhere understand that where are you feeling the stress? What is it that is causing the stress to you? You can note this down. You can do this as a fantastic exercise at home. Because like I said, you can utilize this session as a personal therapy session, where you can go home and do this work. What is causing me stress? List down the stress factors, and how do you react to it? Next, please. So the next thing is the balance, to see that how are we going to cope up with it before it becomes very negative. Because some stress, by the way, is also very important. There is something called EU stress. That means that positive stress, because unless we have positive stress, we are not going to be able to balance it. Positive stress means that we are looking forward to something. So if I don't have positive stress, I'm not going to perform in my exams, I'm not going to get the marks, I'm not going to go to work on time. So that is what is positive stress. So some positive stress is also needed. Problem happens is when it becomes onto the negative side. Next, please. So, and the third becomes the control. That how am I going to control the stress? Right? So there are various different strategies which we'll come down to when we talk about the control. Next. So there are some beautiful strategies that we have, which of course everybody can read it for a split half a minute, because what happened is, when we talk about a little bit what happened to the entire population in the last 1 year, in the year of the pandemic. So what happened is, when we had lockdown 1.0, 2.0, we all suddenly as a population got up and took it as a beautiful challenge in a very positive way, and said, oh my God, we are going to fight this whole battle out with the pandemic, and we are going to be very positive. And through that first 1.0, 2.0, people came up with new stuff, started doing, Zoom calls, WhatsApp calls. We started to reach out to people who we had never reached out to. People were playing games online, Ludo, Antakshi, you name it. People were doing family calls, friends calls, house party was happening. So many different things we were doing to make sure that we stayed up and about, and we stayed motivated. People who had, always hated to commute to their offices or to their schools, they said, or colleges, they said, wow, this is the time when we never have to go anywhere. Pollution levels are also down. Great, we are going to do everything from home. So it was a very positive framework in the first 1.0, 2.0, where people took it as a very good challenge ki isko to bas we will all take care of it. People started indulging in their hobbies, which make us feel very good. People who had never, eaten lunches with their family were enjoying. They were not going to work. They said, wow, we can work from home and enjoy this portion. But what happened? After a point of time, after when suddenly when 4.0 came, we all realized that this is here to stay. And this is not going away very fast. So all of us as a population started getting this intense sense of despair and dejection, fright, fear that what if I get the virus? And then we also started feeling this intense sense of constriction, that I'm feeling confined, contained, not able to go out. So anxiety levels were up. The people were feeling very depressed. It was coming out on their families. What people who were earlier enjoying staying within the same space with the family started hating it. Kids were hating it. Teenagers were totally hating it. They were wanted to be with their friends. They couldn't meet their friends. For little children, it became superly difficult because no one could explain to them that why they can't go out and play in a park. They were all confined in rooms. Work from home became extremely difficult. Kids were on all the time on Zoom classes. They never ended up meeting their whole peer circle in the whole year. And for us, holistic development means that we have human interaction. So there has been a sense of confinement, constriction, anxiety. It has all risen. And of course, with now the examination mode, suddenly now people got used to doing everything online. Now suddenly when it was announced that the exams are going to be offline, again there was a surge. People didn't know, all the students didn't know how to now manage it because they were just so used to doing things from home, and in fact rolling down from the bed and going straight onto the Zoom call, and in fact I used to laugh and I would joke on all my presentations and say that, oh, you don't know, I may be sitting with a night suit pajama at the bottom, but that's not true. But having said that, that is what was happening. We lost a sense of discipline. So it's been very hard for us as a population. So a large number of people who are feeling raised in anxiety levels and depressive levels, look at this slide. This is going to help you a lot. And I will request Sanad and Nishan, maybe if a couple of slides we can share with some of the people, that will be great because it will be a great help to all of you. So have a look at this. Next. So a lot of people, like I said, were complaining about their relationships, where they were loving being at home. Then it became so difficult to, manage the same relationships. And we saw such a huge rise in domestic violence cases being filed, divorce cases being filed. It became very, very difficult to maintain because why? What was happening? Our personal frustration levels were so high. We did not know how to manage it. It was coming onto our relationships, whether it's a relationship with the spouse or the relationship with us parents or the siblings. It was becoming very, very hard. Okay, next, please. Next, please. We can skip this. Of course, the most vulnerable, the most vulnerable section of the society was the elderly, and it became a hard task to take care of them. And not only taking care of them became our responsibility, also to make them tech savvy, because they were always technologically handicapped, and loneliness became the biggest factor in this lockdown, where people couldn't reach out to their friends. They were isolated, a sense of alienation. So we've all, as a population, been grappling with it. And why I'm sharing all this with you is that if any one of you are grappling with it, it's okay. You are not alone. All of us have been through these difficult emotions. So now coming to dealing with stress. So how are we going to deal with the stress? So we have some interesting stress management strategies: changing your thinking, changing your behavior, and changing your lifestyle. Changing our thinking, of course, is creating more and more positive thoughts. And like everybody says, we have these beautiful WhatsApp messages to wake up to, which have some beautiful quotes in it. If you resonate with any one of them, please read them, absorb them, understand them, work on your personal self. That will help you a lot. Next. So positive thinking. Next. Changing our behavior. That is also a complete must. Getting organized. That is one of the best stress management strategies. Even when students ask me, or people who are working ask me, that is one of the most important things, is to get organized. If we are distracted, cluttered, our desks are cluttered, our minds will also be cluttered, and vice versa. So we need to declutter our spaces and get organized. And some humor, we always say, is always having some fun at given spaces and time will always keep you going. Next. So, making, when we talk about being organized, like I said, keeping a to-do list, that becomes very, very essential. Keeping a to-do list where you have a practical to-do list, always do it with priority. And at the end of the tick mark or keep tick marking whatever you're doing. You'll even see that as you keep tick marking your to-do list, you keep feeling lighter and lighter. And besides that, also a very important thing is that you must understand that you will still have some tasks left to do the next day, so don't worry about it. But 80% if we complete, we feel very good. Next. So having an organizer helps you a lot. Planning helps you a lot. Time management is very, very important. Planning your day, making sure that you have some goals, some achievable goals for the day, so that we don't wake up feeling demotivated. Time wasters, we can even note down, if you can note down to see where exactly are you wasting time. I have a lot of people who come to me saying that, help me manage my time. How do you do it? So like I said, keep a journal. Note at the end of the day, where have you spent? Keep a time log. Every hour, what have you done? Log for about a week. You will get to know where you're wasting your time. So you can decrease the time wasters. A lot of times we'll see that many times people end up just going back into social media and just wasting a whole hour. So no one's saying no to social media, but please keep a time aside for it. And of course, like I said, keeping a to-do list and then dropping the unimportant things or pushing them to the next day, which is if it's viable, or to the weekend, and learning how to delegate. That is also very important. Next, please. So we always say that a problem shared is a problem halved. It is very nice to take support from people or write down a diary, write down your thoughts. Sometimes we don't want to share them with people, but it is very, very important to have a group, some 3, 4, 5 people. Earlier we would say if you even have 5 people with you to share or to be available to you, you are blessed. But now I think post the pandemic, we are saying that even if you have 3 people to reach out to, you should feel blessed and talk to them. Doesn't mean you knock every person's door and talk everything out, but have your confidence. Make sure that you discuss, make sure that you ventilate. That will always help you. Next, please. So creating a change in our lifestyle, diet, smoking, like I said, for a diet, very important to make sure you have a good breakfast in the morning. We have this very famous saying that breakfast like a king and dinner like a beggar. That means for dinner time, but in India it's reverse because we keep sitting down and eating courses and courses of meals, right? We should make sure that we have a light dinner and a nice heavy breakfast, so that the breakfast gives us the carbohydrate and the energy, which is the fuel of our system, which helps us run the whole day. Someone had asked earlier that I feel very tired, or I feel mentally also very tired. So like I said even earlier in the presentation, mind and body is very, very closely related. If you're not eating well also, especially if you're not eating a good breakfast, you are bound to feel a lag in the day. So please make sure you have some carbohydrate in the morning. When I say carbohydrate, it means like any grain. So roti, chapati, upma, poha, bread, all this comes in the carbs. So you must have that, and a fruit, which helps you keep going. Some amount of exercise every day. Earlier we were professing twice a day. Now we are saying at least once a day. Some time for leisure and relaxation. Next, please. So with this, I would like to put a summary to what I've been speaking, that, positive mental health in today's time is very, very important. How are we going to make ourselves positive in this difficult time? One is by fixing a routine, like I said, so making sure that you have specific timings for sleeping, waking up, and specific timings for meals. Not skipping your meals is very, very essential. We all understand that our body has a circadian rhythm. That means our body has a body clock. So it's made by God or by whoever the higher energy system is, that when the sun rises, we are supposed to get up, and when the sun goes down, when it's dark, we're supposed to wind down and go to sleep. Now, what's happening is with most people, they are up till wee hours of the morning because we all are loving to, binge watch or read or go onto our laptops or go onto our phone screens and go on and on. Now, what happens is when you see the light of the screen coming on, that doesn't allow melatonin to be released, and that is a hormone which needs to be released for good sleep. So that's why we are saying it's not for anything else. That's why we say for an hour before sleeping or at least half an hour before sleeping, please switch off all your devices and try to wake up. No one's saying wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, but please have a good, decent time to wake up and a decent time to sleep, and keep a system in place. It's not that one day you're sleeping at 1 o'clock, the other day you're sleeping at 12, the other day at waking up at 2. So just keep some sort of a system in place, and then the meals are also in place. Decluttering your space, we talked about. Physical exercise is extremely important, and like earlier Sanad mentioned that there's exam time happening for everybody. So some physical exercise, especially getting out of your space, going for a walk, run, jog, whatever it takes, at least for 45 minutes to an hour a day, is essential for the release of endorphins and serotonin, which are the positive hormones, which will allow us to feel positive. Meditating for 10 to 15 minutes a day, if you can do it, incorporate it in your schedule, nothing like it allows fantastic amount of concentration. There are a lot of mass meditations available online which can be done together in a group, and in fact during the lockdown, all the wise men, all these spiritual gurus, they were offering all these mass meditations, which was whether it was Sri Ravi Shankar, whether it was Sadhguru, Brahma Kumaris. Fantastic. The energy is totally different when you do a mass meditation. Indulging in some positive activities. So identify a positive activity for yourself. I think all of us became the best chef possible in the lockdown. But having said that, keep it going. So identify a nice activity for yourself, whether it's gardening, writing, music, dancing, whatever you like. And if you can spend 2 hours a week on your hobby, it is going to give you immense amount of joy. Some daily prayers or chanting, whatever you believe in, even if you believe in the power of the breath or the sun, just focusing and chanting will allow you fantastic amount of focus, and it works on the nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. The nervous system will get strengthened. And lastly, to understand that having a good support structure will help you sail along and feel good. Next, please. Just skip the next slide, please. Next. Yeah. So, I have this app, which is the Mind and the Wellness app, which is available on the Android version. All of you can download it. It has a lot of techniques. It's like a powerhouse of mental health. It's got everything under one roof. It's one of the most fantastic apps available, completely free to use. So please download it. It will be nice for you people to use it and take some of the techniques as and when as you require. Next, please. Okay, and lastly, before I close and we go on to the Q&As, there's a book which I've written, which Bloomsbury, which of course everybody is aware of Bloomsbury, which is the Harry Potter people, eat, pray, love people. They'd asked me to write down a book on how to manage stress, and it's a beautiful book which is available very easily on Amazon, called Stress Diaries from the Eyes of a Therapist. It's got 10 anecdotal narratives, and it's a self-help book. But now we are saying that please keep, like we used to have, like we have a medical kit at home when we have a stomachache or a headache, please keep this book handy. It will allow you with some immediate relief, immediate tips, and immediate exercises. There are a lot of exercises if you're feeling low, if you're feeling anxious, right before the exam, right before going somewhere, before an interview. It's going to help you a great deal. So with that, I come to the end of the presentation, but I'm still here with you people to help you and to answer all your queries.
So
Thank
thank you,
you.
ma'am. Thank you for those lovely words and some very insightful, information into how we can really deal with stress. I particularly enjoyed your piece on, how you started off telling us that, and I do agree that, even so, even still, while we've really made inroads over the last decade or so into people actually destigmatizing, talking about mental wellness, and I do see a lot more parents and educators focusing more on mental wellness, but I still feel there is definitely more inhibitions that we kind of need to let go of, or have less
Absolutely.
inhibitions to discuss this even with our family and friends. So thank you again, ma'am.
Absolutely.
And
Welcome.
I'll jump right in from here. I do see we have collected a few questions, prior to the session. I also urge all the participants right now to, comment below with any question you may have. It could be even on a personal front. On a, if there is anything in particular that ma'am can help you with, please do share your questions with us. In the
I'll be very
meanwhile,
happy to answer. I'm here for all of you, so I'll be very, very happy to answer all whatever it is. Although somebody did write a question,
yes, I
I can
think
see
that was regarding an 8-hour training day which you took up. Correct. So I think we can move on to the next if that's okay.
as you wish.
Yeah, sure thing, sure thing. I think because you had covered that question, only reason why.
I did
Uh,
because it popped up while I was speaking, so that's why I
yes,
thought I'd.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
I've got an interesting question to start with. So we have a question where student has asked us, how do I tell my parents keep forcing me to be inside and kind of log out of all my devices and not step out of the house during my exams. Now he says it's worse than being in lockdown. So what do I do? And the question is on your screen now.
Okay. Actually, it's not important to cut off from everything during your exams. The important thing always in life, Vivek, is balance. Extremism is not going to lead anybody anywhere. So if I overflood you with stuff and I also or I take everything away from you, that's not going to help, because what's going to end up happening is you're only going to be your mind is going to hover only around what you're deprived of. That I wish I had that phone with me. Why am I not being given that phone? So all such questions will pop up. So having said that, maybe I hope your parents are listening to me. And a lot of times we say it's the parents who need to be counseled as well, not just the kids. So, I would say that extremism is just not an answer. Having said that, there could have been a reason why your parents would have done something like this. So you also need to go back and reflect. Maybe you've overdone something and your parents are just trying to, take all this away from you. Maybe if you could show them that you can balance, that is what is very important. No parent is mad to do this beyond a point. If you just show
Definitely.
them, you get them marks and you show them that you are able to balance your life and say, you know what, I just going to take my device for 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day, and I understand and I take responsibility. It's about taking, see, it is about taking responsibility with the, along with the, discipline. There is no point having responsibility without the discipline. So if you show them that you are a disciplined person, you show them that, I don't want to be on my device 24/7. I rather go for a fresh air walk. I rather work out at home, and I'm studying, and I am, and along with it, I am, taking care of everything, whatever my responsibilities are, and I need my device for 2 hours. I'm sure they're not going to say no to you.
Yeah,
I'm very
certainly,
sure. I think
certainly.
you just need to give them that, confidence and that faith. Maybe they've just seen you, maybe flip over the other side. So that's why they're using a stricter mechanism, because sometimes parents just don't know what better to do. So I'm not, it's not about blaming anybody. Sometimes, as parents, we just put our hands up in the air because we just don't know what to do. If we are seeing the child is just not performing, we're seeing, the child is constantly on the phone with the friends or on social media, the parent gets worried. So the parent is only coming out of concern for you. They don't want to put you in a jail or a prison. I'm sure the intention is not that at all. Any parent always loves their children quite a lot, I would say, and unconditionally, right? And for them, it's their way of securing a future maybe for you. Saying, ki, oh my God, my child is going a little haywire, so I should just kind of make them, maybe they have no choice. So it's very
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
to reflect on what we are doing. So, Sanat, it's very easy to point the finger at the other person and say, इन्होंने ऐसे किया और इन्होंने मेरे
Yeah,
से
it's a
ये ले
two-way street.
लिया.
I agree with you 100%. Definitely.
I always remember when you put one finger onto the other person, four are pointing right behind you. So, सबसे पहले, the most important thing is to reflect to see where have I gone wrong. Maybe when
Certainly.
we understand where we've gone wrong, write it down. Go have a word with your parents nicely. See, what we end up doing as children is we end up screaming, being aggressive, shouting, saying, "Why did you do this? Why did you take it away from me?" So explain to them, saying, "I need some refreshment. But I promise to do it within some discipline." So if you
Certainly.
can give your
Yes.
parents that amount of comfort and the confidence, I can promise you they will not take away all your devices.
Great. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that response. And I'm sure Vivek, you can take this video back to your parents and at least show them, what exactly,
Most welcome.
ma'am's perspective was on this as well. So moving
Yeah.
on, we have a few few interesting questions. I'll take perhaps a tough one, ma'am. Maybe not for you, but I thought this is interesting, so I'm going to put this up on screen. How can I stay
Sure.
positive despite of a bad result? Is asked by Akshit Jain.
Yes, it can be quite disheartening, and we see a lot of times kids have studied very hard, and they're not able to get the relevant numbers or the relevant marks, or because we may have different methods of understanding, studying, could be different. Some now we are, in the last decade, we are like Sanad, you were saying that in the last decade, mental health has come so much on the forefront, more so in the last 5 years. We coming to terms with understanding kids can have learning disabilities. Somebody could be bad at math and they could be fantastic at something else, right? So it's all about understanding yourself a little better. It's not necessarily somebody's going to be good at everything. So first, I think what you need to understand, Akshat, is understand why is it that you got that bad result. Did I not put a sufficient effort, or I put a sufficient effort, maybe I was not able to focus on my weak points correctly. So good idea, Akshat, is to put down, put down in a journal, put down in a writing, in a diary, saying that what were the positives and what were the negatives. What did I do wrong that I got this bad result? We can't always blame it on the examiner being bad or the paper being bad, right? We also have to see that there's something I could have done, or maybe I could have done better. There are areas, so it's nice to understand
Definitely.
what are my areas of improvement.
Hmm.
We all have
Yeah,
areas of
definitely.
improvement, and
I
that's what
agree
I
with you,
said.
ma'am. I think, yeah, sorry to cut you, ma'am.
No,
I
no,
definitely agree with you there. I think, I read this, back in school as well. I mean, self-awareness is probably the first step you take into actually improving yourself, and improving the state of your mind. So definitely
absolutely.
that's
So
something to look into.
something there would be something which I have done wrong to get that bad result. It's okay. Getting a bad result is not the end of the world. It's so we also read every day that failure is a stepping stone to a success.
Hmm.
सो यूज इट एज अ मोटिवेटर कि मैं कहाँ पे गलत किया, मैंने कहाँ पे नहीं कर पाया था. नाउ दीज आर थ्री प्लेसेस वेर आई डिडंट डू राइट. I will improve
Absolutely.
these three places, so I will get the better result. So there's no point sitting with those marks to your heart and saying what did I do wrong. I would rather say where can I improve. If you recall, even in the beginning of the presentation, I said something's wrong with all our lifestyles. And if you say there isn't, well, there's always area for improvement. There is nobody who's perfect. So think of it as a motivating
Hmm.
factor. Don't let it weigh
Hmm.
you down. Don't let it deject you. There's always a brighter side to things. I know it's not nice to get bad marks, and I don't think anybody likes it, and I don't think your parents like it, and I don't think anybody around likes it. But then you can make a promise to yourself to be motivated to do something better. But how? Just by saying मैं better कर लूँगा doesn't make sense. You need to understand where are the errors. Just work on these errors and you'll do fine.
Certainly, certainly. Thanks again, ma'am, for those inputs. So we have another question on screen. It says class 12 boards are coming in a few months. With online classes all year, I'm afraid my preparation is not right, and that is stressful. How do I tackle these negative thoughts? This is by Shambhavi Dubey.
Shambhavi, I think every child is facing what you're facing. That everybody is frightened because the last whole year everybody has been taking either sitting home and just not studying sufficiently, and somewhere in the back of the mind everybody thought ki this time also the boards are going to be online. So nobody put in that extra effort through the year. And everybody who was appearing for the exams, the mock tests or all your prep tests, they were all opening their books. Everybody knows it, the teachers know it, the students know it. So we know that it's a lot what most of the kids are fairly unprepared. But like I said, well, pull up your socks, there's no choice. So, like when one fine day the pandemic just happened and then just came on us, this is also just come on you. So, what do we do? We are going to take it as a positive challenge and say, big deal, I'll work at it. See the positives of it. The positives of it is that you still not going to school every day. You have those extra hours now to work on. The second thing is the exam time has been extended. The board exams are effectively supposed to be in Feb
Yes.
or March, like they used to be. They've gone down to April. So you do have extra too. You're still sitting with a lot of extra time. So rather than cribbing, I rather make the most of that extra time and say, let me go for it and let me study. And another very important thing is what we always see, all of us have very short-term memory. What you've forgotten is कि पूरी लाइफ तो आपने ऑफलाइन एग्जाम दिए हैं,
Yeah.
एक ही
Yeah.
साल में तो ऑनलाइन दिए हैं खाली. So that's why I tell all the students who are in counseling with me, I'm like, why are you worried? All your life, 10th board also, all of you, whoever's
You
taking the
went to
12th
school.
board,
Yeah. Yeah.
your 10th you've gone and taken in a center. So now what are you worried about? Yes, I understand you might be underprepared, but don't feel underconfident about it. You have time. So spend that little extra time. इस साल बहुत बच्चों ने बहुत मजे भी किए हैं. Like I said, school, all the children I know, they were just, every parent I know have said that they just roll out of bed and they just open the laptop and half or whatever the device, and half of them are sleeping through the classes. So teachers are screaming, people are not attending. So we all know, we've not inside, we all know the real picture. We all know
So,
that we've
ma'am,
not done.
just if I may intervene here, just to share a
Please.
funny anecdote. So yesterday I was just taking a walk around the block. I live in Gurgaon too. So there was a lady on a call, and she was discussing the same thing that you just said about her child, and how online classes are taken for granted, and they roll out of bed, and exactly those words. So I can totally relate to that, and I'm sure a lot of the
I
students
don't have
here
a
as well can
single
relate to that.
child. I don't have a single child. I think in counseling with me who has a bath before starting the day. They all are having breakfast while the classes are going on. They go for a bath after in the afternoon. So it's
Yes.
been pretty
Yes.
cushy. It's been
Hmm.
pretty cushy on one side. I'm not saying it's been completely cushy. It's been cushy from that front. So come on, we've rested, we've done it. Pull up our socks, get going.
Now get
Well,
it done.
we
Absolutely.
motivate. Yeah.
Certainly. So, ma'am, since you spoke about memory, I have another interesting question, and perhaps after this we'll take maybe one or two more, and then we'll
Sure.
end the stream if that's okay. So the next question, since we were talking about memory, is how can I improve my memory for exams? And if you have any insights to share on that.
Yeah. So, Kapil, there are some specific mental exercises to improve our memory. But having said that, some very basic stuff, which I said earlier also, which is genuinely very basic. One is to make sure that you get sufficient sleep. If you're not sleeping properly, there is no way that your memory is going to be sharp. So don't think that you'll be binge watching movies and sleeping for 4 hours and saying मेरी memory को क्या हुआ है. Of course कुछ हुआ है, because ना अगर आप ढंग से सोएंगे नहीं, आप लोग ढंग से खाना नहीं खाएंगे, your memory is going to go for a toss. Even for kids, just to say that, even kids have not been eating properly because of
Yeah.
this whole
Yeah.
system being
Definitely.
going haywire. See, if you're not going to put, like I said earlier, if I will not put fuel into my body, where's the car going to run? Without petrol, the car is not running anywhere. So you need to put the sufficient food, though your mind cells also need the nourishment. So please make sure that you're eating well, you're sleeping on time. Thirdly, for you to improve your memory, I'm giving you some general stuff and then we'll go to some specific also. Thirdly, please make sure you have a decluttered space. If my head is cluttered with so many things, it's like a desktop screen. If I have some 50,000 icons on it, it's going to stop working.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
exactly like that. If I put so many things around me to clutter कि मुझे ये भी करना है, मुझे सोशल मीडिया भी 3 घंटे करना है, मुझे 2 घंटा ये भी करना है. So trust me, that's not going to work. So first and foremost, declutter your spaces, discipline yourself. Very importantly, physical exercise. Now you'll say, what do I have to do with physical exercise with memory? It has everything to do with memory. If I'm not going to release the positive hormones in a proper fashion, I'm going to be sitting all day long, either on my Zoom class or on my laptop TV, and then not do anything and then expect that my body and mind should be fine. How will it be fine? Our body and
Fair.
mind works on a particular way, right? It
Definitely.
works in a
Yes.
particular way. So if my digestion needs me to walk 20 steps or 2 hours or whatever it needs, I need to do it. No. So similarly, I need to release the positive hormones. I need the serotonin flow. How is it going to come? The flow is only going to come when I'm going to do some physical exercise every day. I'll make your mind fresh. Go out every day for half an hour, 1 hour. Now fortunately we don't have to go outdoors all day long because we are seeing new strains coming in. But
Mm-hmm.
at least we can wear a mask. The weather's quite fine, it's beautiful. You can go out for a nice fresh air walk in the garden. Take a break, take a breather. Do not stick onto a screen. Another important thing, do not stick beyond 40 or 50 minutes onto a screen. Please get up, wash your face, eyes, get water to drink, or take a walk, something that you need a breather also. All these things are very, very important.
Sure thing.
And
Sure
then,
thing.
of course, some specific memory exercises. And like I said earlier, also, if you can do a 10-minute breathing schedule, pick a standard online pranayam from anywhere, which is like an Anulom Vilom, Bhastrika, Kapalbhati, at a full set for 10 to 15 minutes. If you can do that for 15 minutes, 10 minutes also every day, you wait and see 21 days, mark my words, you will see a vast difference because that is working on your nervous system. So it's going to give you the oxygen supply. And
Great.
then of course we have some defined mind exercises. You can go online, if you download my app, that has got some mind exercises also. Else you can do some focusing exercises also if you feel that you really want to improve. People in their free time, why do you think people to avoid in the elderly, to avoid dementia and Alzheimer's, what do people do? What do? They incorporate puzzles, Sudoku their life so that the brain cells stay active. अगर हम खाली टीवी देखते रहेंगे और सोशल मीडिया पे फ्लिप करते रहेंगे तो ब्रेन सेल्स एक्टिव नहीं होंगे. उसके लिए काम करना पड़ता है. So that's how.
For sure. So, ma'am, actually, interestingly, we had one question lined up where one of the people had asked, "Does yoga help in reducing stress?" But you've answered that, so I'm glad. That's one less question right now that we need to take up. So I'll jump to the next one, which is
Yeah.
yeah,
Just a
I'll
quick
jump to the next
thing.
one
It's
now,
not.
which is sure.
Go for it.
Yes. Yes. So the next question I have is, slightly different from what we've, been discussing, which have been around exams, and around the study schedules, etc. The next question is, the normal life of a teenager includes several relationship dramas, and they say my life does too. And how do I focus only on my studies and avoid these distractions? Is what Mansi Bisht asks.
And I'm so happy someone's asked this, besides saying, "Kaise better पढ़ सकते हैं और because none of why teenage life, none of our lives are bereft of relationship dramas. Because we don't stay in isolation. A man is a social being, and one of the biggest problems we had in the pandemic was the fact that everybody was feeling alienated and isolated. Everybody loved the space for a while, but then that was the entire concern was loneliness, alienation, and isolation. So, having said that, if I reverse this around, all that means that we need to be in relationships, whatever relationships there are. That could be with friends, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be with my parents, it could be with your siblings, neighbors, and of course there are a lot of drama. The only thing I can say to that is, one, to understand that this is a parallel.
Mhm.
To understand that this is something which we need to handle together. We need to
Certainly.
handle this side by side. I can't make separate compartments to say that now I will deal in with relationship after I'm a student, after I finish my graduation. Have a relationship, have a relationship when you're and you're, you know, if there is a relationship, there is a toxic or there is you can't get dragged
Mhm.
uh, so
Sure thing. Sure thing. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry, I was facing a little bit of trouble, so I didn't completely get the
I could
last
see
part of your
that.
response. But
No, I was
yeah,
just saying, the last part I just said was that Mansi said that she already used the word drama in her question. So I was just saying that if you really feel it's a drama, then what do we do? What happens when we watch a drama? We only watch it for some time, no? We don't want to jump and be a part of the drama. So you've already said that you've stated that these relationships are somewhat toxic, somewhat creating a drama in your life. Keep away. So demarcate some time for it. Say, okay, मैं एक घंटा रोज इसको या आधा घंटा करूंगी, इसके ऊपर नहीं करूंगी. So you need to draw boundaries.
yeah,
When there
absolutely.
are
I'm
dramas, we draw
100% with
boundaries.
you there. Yeah, certainly, ma'am. That's actually very good advice because I think, especially when we're growing up, teenagers, especially, you kind of get sucked into everything that's around you, and you yourself don't know where to kind of pull
What?
back. Yeah.
Sanad, why teenagers, all adults, all of us, we are also like the same. So
No,
it's the
definitely,
same.
definitely. We get sucked in.
It's the same.
It's just maybe when you grow up a little bit, you have a better sense of, maybe a slightly better sense of judgment.
I
Maybe
hope
not
so.
for all
I
of us.
hope
Yeah,
so. I hope so because I think all of us struggle with this. So I just want to tell you, Mansi, you're just not alone. Or even if you grow a little older, you may be a little wiser. But all of us face it. So the
definitely.
beauty is to learn to demarcate. So all of us come to work. We all come to work. We all go to work. We all do our responsibilities. I'm sure all of us have enough dramas at home and enough dramas around us. How do we manage it? Because we learn to demarcate it. That's all. If you bring the drama to work, it's like if you bring your relationship drama into your studies, it's going to get spoiled. If I bring my relationship drama to my workplace, the work is going to get spoiled. That holds true for all of us for the rest of our life.
Yeah.
So we better learn to demarcate.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. And I think with that, I think that bring us to the end of all our questions that we had today, and our time as well. In fact, I think we're 15 minutes over. But thank you, ma'am, for staying with us, and thank you, for helping us, throughout this session, and for helping all the students, with their queries on, how to deal with exam stress, how to prepare better, and how to overall, kind of indulge in mental wellness for themselves and be more aware with it. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you again, ma'am. It was a lovely session that we had here today. So in case anyone's questions are not answered, we're certainly going to get back to you. We've shared a email ID with you where you can write into us, and we'll certainly help you. So thank you again, ma'am, and thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you, Sanad. It was a pleasure interacting with you, and I'm so glad we had some good questions pouring in. And I hope people who are listening, it's helped them. And I hope people who didn't have the courage to ask the questions, I hope it answered some of your questions. And I understand there are many people who it's very tough to come out in an open audience and just ask your personal query. It's very hard. So if someone's feeling like that, don't
Definitely.
worry. It's very hard. You can write into me, my email ID, they'll share with you. It's rachnakasing1@gmail.com. Most welcome to write in. We do end up answering your queries. We don't neglect them. You will get an answer back in about 24 to 48 hours back from us. So if anybody is feeling down and out, we're always there to help. And thank you so much, HCL, and a pleasure again, Sanad. And thanks, Ishan, for coordinating this
It was
whole
all
thing.
pleasure. Our pleasure, ma'am. Thank you very much. And thanks everyone again for joining. If you want more information pertaining to the TechBee program, as I see some questions around that, you can log on to our website, www.hcltechbee.com. And of course, you can write into us for any questions related to that. So thank you again. I will be ending the stream now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a good
Bye-bye.
evening,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. Good night.